Aloha from the Pineapple Pentagon on the big island of Hawaii. It's Hawaii Volcano Squad with a lock and load broadcast from paradise. So we've got December 7th approaching quickly, a few days, about a week or so away. And what this picture is a government photo of the in Tokyo Bay of the mighty Missouri. One MacArthur and his staff and generals from all nations showed up to sign the peace treaty with Japan, the instrument of surrender. Wars don't end like that anymore. It's like a lot of naval ships, and that's all solid overcast of American planes up in the air there from aircraft carriers. And have a couple pictures I wanted to show you on that, just because we're getting close to December 7th. But, our President Obama said he showed up to Paris at the climate change conference to show resolve. I don't know what he thinks resolve is, but he's had other opportunities to show resolve, and taking a plane to Paris, and that's really not showing resolve. Anyway, let me put up another picture real quick for you guys. Let's see if I can dig through it. This is a current event. Here's the head of the Japanese Self-Defense Force, a general at the Pearl Harbor USS Arizona Shrine Room, laying a memorial wreath. And it's good that we have peace with Japan. Peace is so much better than war. But on December 7th, a peaceful day when everybody in Hawaii was minding their own business. It goes to show you never know when calamity and apocalypse called World War II started. And as you can see by the long list of names listed in the shrine and back of the two sailors, we can't even see all of it. It was a pretty big calamity. So anyway, let's move on to current events. I had some interesting Second Amendment stuff and a couple of interesting snapshots I found. Let's see. I bet you guys have never, ever seen a linen cartridge. I think that's 58 caliber musket. Nitride. It's a nitrogen flushed paper is underneath the linen, but that's basically cloth there, and the gunpowder is inside the linen. And I thought that was interesting. I'd never seen that before. It's an interesting way of loading rifles. And I also have just the nitrogen. Basically, they take paper and they soak it in potassium nitride or nitrogen and let it dry out. And it, you throw a spark at it with a percussion cap or whatever, and it will burn rapidly. So let me get that paper cartridge up real quick. And this one was for the 38 Colt Patterson revolver. And you can see here that this is the potassium nitrogen flushed paper. And basically it had the Patterson had a rod that you would push the cartridge into the chamber, and the paper was designed to pretty much break and the powder would spill out, but it's in the chamber, so in the cylinder. So, and that's how they made them for about 22, 23 years before the brass cartridge came around. So, just some interesting stuff. All right, so let's get on to a quick Second Amendment update here. The Friedman case was relisted again. Let me bring that SCOTUS information up, assuming I can find it. Let's see. Yep, so it's been relisted for December 4th. That's the 7th time. So I'm going to take a wild guess here on the Friedman case. This is the assault weapon ban and high capacity magazine ban in Illinois. And I'm going to take a wild guess and say some clerk is writing up, trying to write some logical reason for not hearing this case. The Supreme Court turns down a lot of Second Amendment cases. So, and so this has been distributed for conference 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. On the 30th, which is today, they announced it was distributed for conference on December 4th. And by conference, I mean they're trying to come up with a reason, a paper that they can post that says, this is why we aren't going to hear the case. Because they don't want to. That's the reason. You know, I think they want the Congress to solve this for them, you know, and show some resolve. Like our president said he was trying to do. I think the only way, I think the world is so messed up. The first, and Americans are so oblivious to how screwed up things are in between $18 trillion in national debt. And Iran building a nuclear bomb, and North Korea has one, and the Russians messing with Turkey. Don't mess with our turkey. It's we just had Thanksgiving, and you know we don't got that much turkey left, so you better not mess with the one we got. But the first time Americans will actually notice anything is wrong is when their Xbox, the power of their Xbox gets turned off by some device that also kills 5 million Americans. And that would be a nuclear explosion. So I've been doing a little prepared. I asked myself, am I prepared for, economic, debt bubble pop or some kind of thing like that? And I'd say no, but I'm working on it. And I'd say my biggest thing I need to work on is food. So I'm going to buy a bunch of canned food. I know Shooting with Trees. It's another YouTube channel. He's got a prepping show chat on Wednesday that he's going to be hosting with. He met some hardcore prepper, I think. So that ought to be fun to listen to. He's a cool little guy. I like him. So check out his channel. Shooting and Fun with Trees, I think. He changed the name of his channel recently, not too long ago, but he's been around quite a while. And so maybe I'll pick up a prepping trick or two. I just bought, aside from some canned food, I just bought a burner that burns, small cans of propane, so I could cook in the house a little bit if the electric goes down. I got an electric stove, so no gas in this building. They got a barbecue out back by the pool, but something tells me that the one canister of liquid petroleum with the barbecue won't last very long. if the shit hits the fan, and it might be hard to get refills. And when he used to keep a few extra, but they got ripped off. So it's life in the big city. All right, let's see what else we got. On my favorite. So I bought another silver bar this week on Black Friday, and extra 100 rounds of 357 Magnum and 45 ACP, which seemed to be the two pistol calibers I had the least of. And since they're such fun guns to shoot, I think I just went crazy on 9mm, and I have tons and gobs of that stuff. But time to move on. If I could find my way back to the screen to push all the right buttons. Let's see where we're at. All right. So, yeah, silver's been hanging around 14 an ounce. So, bought another 10-ounce bar from JM Bullion of the Sunshine Minting Company from Idaho. I'm not in a mad rush. They had lower premiums on Black Friday, and they still have some, but basically, just looking at the news, here's some stuff you guys might be interested in. Actually, that's interesting. I thought you guys might find this interesting instead of just looking at the charts. No, that's not what I wanted to see. Strategic metals. All right, so you guys might not know what this stuff is. China has, besides stockpiling large amounts of gold, they have because they're a big manufacturing country. They have been hoarding rare earth mines and metals for themselves, and kind of stockpiling them. And some of these are pretty interesting. If you looked at the global climate conference, China's plan to reduce greenhouse gases is to build about 26 nuclear reactors right on the coast. So let's look at this one. It's asking $2,100 a kilogram, hafnium. This one's used for control rods in nuclear power plants. So you can see why China, they have operations in Afghanistan and Africa, wherever there's a good spot to mine these metals. All the commodities been taking a hit. There was a dead cat bounce. So, oil, gold, silver, everything, all the stuff went down a bit today. It bottomed, touched the bottom lows, around $14 for silver, and then there was a short covering rally, it looked like, and I'll look at the news later. But so this is hafnium. Let's see, indium, used as indium in solar cells, flat screens. So everybody that wants a flat screen TV, architectural glass, or to build a skyscraper, vacuum sealing. Oh my God, they use vacuum tubes still? Wow. All right. This looks like cocaine. It's neo. Oh God, I mispronounced this one. Neodymium oxide. Only $54 a kilogram. I'm not sure. Magnets, dyeing of glass, lasers, infrared lasers. Germanium, infrared optics, semiconductors, optical lenses, solar cells. Yeah, rare earth metals. China's really big into that. They pay in Afghanistan. They pay the Taliban to protect their mining operations. They just basically pay them money to guard them. That way, if you pay the guys who are most likely to attack you not to attack you, I guess it works for China. Or they wouldn't do it. But LEDs, gallium. So if you got an LED TV, gallium. If you want to make LED TVs and sell them like they do, I guess, in China or Korea, you need that. And so China controls this stuff, and they only as much of it as they can. And in case you weren't watching today, the Chinese yuan has joined the IMF uh, currency basket for reserve. What is it? Special SRD basket, special reserve drawing, or SDR, special drawing reserve, or something like that. It's a basket of not that many countries use it. Jordan uses it as a basically they keep a basket of the whatever the IMF says they have to keep because they get loans. But anyway, I found this stuff interesting. All these metals besides just gold, silver, and the normal stuff you think about. Europium, energy saving light bulbs, light LEDs, again, radiation protection, superconducting alloying material. Europe has a superconductor. Well, and we canceled the Texas one. So otherwise it would be called Texium. Let's see. Dysprosium oxide powder. Permanent magnets and power generators in electrical vehicles, phosphorus lasers, metal halide lamps. All right. Praseodymium. Praseodymium. Sounds like some Japanese Korean combo fusion dish. All right. Magnets, colorant for glass and enamel, and electrically conductive ceramics. Sounds like capacitors. All right. Rhenium, alloying material for aircraft turbines, chemical and petrochemical catalysts. All right. Oil industry. Terbium oxide, $565.90 per kilogram. Doping agent in solid state devices. So chips, crystal stabilizer and fuel cells, actuators and sensors. Anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting. I've talked about silver and gold before, but interesting what you find out when you're really not even looking for it on the internet. So, anyway, all right, let's get out of that one. So, I haven't started buying gold bars yet. I've been sticking to silver, but no, God, I don't want to see all these charts. Get out of this page. Yeah, back to my Glock. Like I said, I got the 9mm, plenty of that stuff, thousands of rounds. But all right, so for the giveaway, patch giveaway for this week, I have a question that I came up with based on, well, I don't know if you guys check your email during Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but man, they just don't stop. So let me see if I could find my email on here. Let me get the right page up. One sec. Yeah, there it is. Let me dig it out. I must have got 50 emails. Just, here's tactical gear. You're running out of time. IDF holsters. Only 5 hours remain. Last chance to save big. Mako Group. 5 hours remain. Last chance to save big. eBay. Brownells. Blade HQ. Maxpedition. United States Mint. That's where the question comes from. The U.S. set a record for selling Silver Eagles this year, and it's not even over yet. I mean, they're almost rationing them at this point. But all right, let me do a screen share of. Yeah, gotta get to all the right pages to push the right buttons. Yeah, they have this new quarter. So the question is, since our president is in France, what did the French contribute to win the Battle of Saratoga? This was General Burgoyne versus, Gates. And I think Benedict Arnold was still on our side, kind of. That was the battle where his leg was shot and his horse was shot. And then his horse, he fell off his horse and his horse landed on him. And in between being shot in the leg and his horse landing on him, he broke his leg and had problems. I guess Horatio Gates got credit for winning this battle, even though Benedict Arnold led the charge through 2 British redoubts. And I'll give you a hint. What the French contributed was kind of, you can figure it out by looking at this picture. So, anyway, if you can answer that question, go to gunchannels.com/HVS. And if you're not already a member, sign up and put in the answer in the chat room. Just type it in. And you get to win the patch giveaway, which is always cool. G-Webs has a new Red Dawn patch, and I really like it. Haven't bought it yet, but it's on my short list. So let's see. Yeah, it's a really cool Red Dawn patch. So I don't know if maybe he'll throw that in if you win the patch giveaway. I'm trying to get back to the Hawaii gunchannels.com/HVS room. All right, what else we got to talk about? Okay, this interesting petition for the writ that they're probably trying to find a reason to ignore for the Friedman case, and Ari Friedman and the Illinois State Rifle Association versus the city of Highland Park, which I guess somewhere in Illinois. Let's see. Well, that's definitely the wrong page. Let's stop this one. That's it. Okay, so this is in the Supreme Court of the United States. Petition for writ of certiorari, which means they won. It's basically a writ for an appeal. That includes the most popular rifles in the nation. I think there's a case just like this for electric stun guns too, coming up to the Supreme Court. It's hard to know, keep track of everything. There's always cases being filed, and it's hard to keep track of everything. 2, whether the Constitution allows the government to prohibit law-abiding, responsible citizens from protecting themselves, their families, and their homes with ammunition magazines that number in the tens of millions and make up nearly half of the nation's total stock of privately owned ammunition magazines for handguns and rifles. All right. Well, I'll put this link in the video description at the end of the chat so you can read it or you could go to SCOTUS blog and probably find a link there. This link has been up all day. I'm not sure the exact path I found to get this, but let's skip to the conclusion. Reasons for granting the review is needed because the Seventh Circuit's decision cannot be reconciled with Heller. Review is needed to correct the lower court's massive resistance to Heller and the refusal to treat Second Amendment rights as deserving respect equal to other constitutional rights. Review is needed to clear up the conflict and doctrinal confusion that have prevailed in the lower courts in the wake of Heller. That's a good way to insult the justices by telling them that they issued a confusing ruling. So probably the some clerk will say it's not confusing at all. Great. So why is this upside down? So everybody turn your computer upside down and this will make perfect sense. I mean, they've turned the Second Amendment upside down and the Constitution upside down on its head. So, all right. One big city police official was quoted in the Los Angeles Times as saying, "We're tired of passing out flags to the widows of officers killed by drug dealers with Uzis." Taken literally, the implied claim that many officers were killed by Uzi-wielding drug dealers was clearly false. According to chief of the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Program, from 1980, when the Uzi was first imported, through 1989, not one police officer in the United States was killed by a drug dealer with an Uzi. Well, but of course, he just made it up. It looks scary. It is scary if someone's pointing it at you, but nobody's ever been killed with one. At least no police officers have. Unlike their claim, they just make this shit up. And then it gets repeated by everybody who reads it, you know, ad nauseum. Assault rifles are a special concern to police because some of these weapons, like civilian hunting rifles, are capable of penetrating police body armor. And these cases all involve long guns. I've never been able to shove a rifle through anybody's armor, but I sure would like to see somebody try and do it just on a practice target. Only 11 police officer deaths involve bullets penetrating body armor, about one per year in the whole nation. The rest were involved bullets hitting areas not protected by the vest. I saw some interesting armor somewhere. It was like they called it hoplite armor, and it covered a lot of parts of the body, the shoulders, shoulder panels. It looked pretty interesting. Maybe I'll try and dig up the link before this chat is over. This Pineapple Pentagon broadcast, for lack of a better word. So yeah, basically looking at it's just it's an interesting. I'll link this in the after the chat uploads, and I'm allowed to. I got to wait for it to be processed, and then I'll update the information on it. Yeah, well, if you guys are watching on YouTube, get in gun channels and enter the contest. You can tell me what the French contributed to the Battle of Saratoga. I know the you win the daily patch giveaway. And you just have to enter the answer in the gunchannels.com/HVS chat room. So, yeah, everybody knows that the French Navy showed up at Yorktown to trap Cornwallis. But the Battle of Saratoga, I don't know. I'm a history nut, so I get something from the U.S. Mint. I've subscribed to the U.S. Mint for just their coins, alerts recently. I guess they've got Cyber Friday or Monday or whatever the hell it is too. I'm just gonna show you the never-ending collection of crap that I get sent. Let's see. By the way, if anybody was watching, well, you couldn't be watching it, but on Edge's chat, and the after chat after the main chat was over on Friday, somebody from Canada mooned Edge. It was funny. So watch out for those Canadian moons, man. I mean, I was looking at, I was probably looking at something else. I just caught the tail end of it, so to speak, but it was funny. All right, so I was gonna look something up for you guys, and now I was gonna just write. So check out. Yeah, I've got AOL forever, but see, tactical gear, IDF holsters, Mako Group, eBay, Brownell, Cyber Monday, almost over. Blade HQ. There's still more time for Cyber Sale. They've got an interesting titanium standard US mess kit that I really like, but it was way too expensive. I don't think I'm going to buy it. I mean, if you get a free titanium straw and Shema, if you do, but Max Perdition, Dark Brown, buy one, get one, Cyber Monday. I guess they're having a problem with selling brown. All right, the Saratoga Historical Park Quarter and Rolls. As I showed you that email. Springfield Armory. Yeah, I clicked on that thing a million times during the contest, and I didn't win. Cyber Monday from JN Bullion. If you want to buy coins or bars, they lowered their premiums over spot on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Tony Bahama. I want to buy another Hawaiian shirt from them, man. Mako Group, Battery Junction, Brownells, Classic Firearms, Clemson Trace, Vitamix. That's my martini maker. All right, not my martini. That's my margarita maker. Sorry. Tactical Gear, Cyber Monday Code, Camelbot. This bottle is on us. Firearm blog. All right. So everybody that heard about the 1911 thing, I think that was all. They jumped. Firearm blog jumped the gun. That was the subject of Edge's chat, and basically, I think where's the article I found? This chief operating officer of the civilian marksmanship program said it was bullshit. I'm putting up the link. So I think we got some incorrect information, and pretty much everybody ran with it. And because the COO posted something about it. Yeah, he thinks basically what he posted. I'm trying to find the post. I do not see it right now. But it basically said that the that particular version that was talked about in the firearms blog of the 1911 being sold through the civilian marksmanship program, that version hasn't passed and wasn't signed by Obama. So, and he said it would be a cold day in hell before he thought Obama would sign it. But I don't know. There's a post from the COO about it, and we had talked about it, and we were all excited. Communications, would that be it? All right, let's see. CMP. Here's a CMP Civilian Marksmanship Program forum. Free stickers. Oh, that'd be cool. CMP bolt action rifles. I think he posted it somewhere in here. Forums.thecmp.org is the website. Let's go to Ask CMC. Surplus 1911 sales okayed by president? Question mark. That's it. It's a sticky. Well, here they're saying yes, it did happen. That was on the 26th, but I saw that it didn't say that, and I posted the link on Gun Channels. I guess I have to go look at my own post if it's not in here. Let's skip to the end of this one last. Today at 7 p.m. All right, that seems take about 12 to 18 months, and some will be drooling on their 1911A1. Right. The NDA, that's the National Defense Authorization Act 2016, has been signed into law. And we have no further information concerning the status of 1911s at this time. Because the COO definitely posted something, which I put on Gun Channels. I posted the link that specifically said that he didn't think Obama would sign such a package, and they were of the particular form that had that amendment. But here they said they did. So, all right. Well, I stand corrected. But I do know that the COO definitely said that, put a post up about it, and I guess they took it down. Jeez. All right. Here it is. Okay, it's on. This what date is this? WVTM 13 News. Updated May 1st, 2015. Well, that's a little bit old. All right. Well, there seems to be conflicting information on about this. I don't know how they got Obama to sign that unless they really needed the defense authorization done immediately. It's about the only way I could see him signing it. He's so anti-gun. It's ridiculous. All right. Well, that's Mark Johnson. That's at the bottom. That looks like somebody's in here. Al W. Welcome. And basically, it says on the bottom that the NDA has been signed into law. That's the chief operating officer who put up the post earlier that said it wasn't. So, all right, let's get it right. Let's try and get the facts right. It's always the first time for that, right? So that's the last one on here. The chief operating officer says, from the CMP sales page, 11/30/15, an update on the 1911s. The NDA 2016 has been signed into law, and we have no further information. All right. Well, that's today, 10:13 p.m. That's the latest. He had put up a post saying it wasn't. It's on the Gun Channels. I posted that on the Gun Channels, but they may have taken down the blog because I thought I linked it. Clubs, roller coaster. All right. All right. Well, so I'm waiting for another bar of silver to get here. Bought it on Black Friday. I think the day before Black Friday. We bought it when they lowered the premiums, basically. This would be interesting. I'm gonna have to figure out what pistol club or what the easiest thing to sign up for around here on the Big Island is that will qualify me for the CMP program. Get a reasonably priced 1911 to add to the one I got already. So, anyway, let's get back to out of my email. There's nothing in there except look at all that Cyber Sunday, Cyber Monday, Black Friday crap. Just endless emails for days, like a few hundred, I think. All right, let's get out of that one. So I've been putting off my trip to Costco to buy canned food, but tomorrow for sure. Bought some peaches and beans, canned peaches and canned beans at Walmart, but I need to go to Costco to get serious about it. Uh, put away some stuff for you never know. Basically, when things go bad, you don't have much warning. They just go really bad. So trying to be more prepared than I am. I think I've got the ammo thing covered. I was watching The Walking Dead the other day, and just a few minutes of it, and there's just like 400 zombies walking down the road, and I thought, man, I'm gonna need more shotgun ammunition. I could take on that many zombies. Here's a Second Amendment issue thing that if I could click on the right page, I can screen share it. Is this SCOTUS blog? Yeah. Let's see. Is this the one with the electric gun? Cayetano v. Massachusetts. Whether a stun gun is an arm within the meaning of the Second Amendment, whether the Massachusetts blanket prohibition on the possession of stun guns infringes on the right of people to keep and bear arms in violation of the Second and 14th Amendments. Yes, well, that's on the SCOTUS blog. Let me screen share that. I bet Al knows how to talk. I'm just going to take a wild guess. Let's see, but you never know. Petitions we're watching. That's it. So I'm hoping you guys can see this. Cayetano v. Massachusetts. I just read it out, and I'm going to click on it. Is this another certiorari? Distributed for conference 3 times. I have the feeling that the Supreme Court just doesn't want to hear Second Amendment cases, and everything's going to get distributed until some clerk comes up with a reason to deny certiorari, which means they won't hear the case. Which kind of sucks because Hawaii has the same prohibition against, stun guns or electric, tasers and stuff. Only the police get to use them. And I think they killed somebody with one recently, and a lawsuit was filed. I guess just the police get to fry people. We still have from all I can tell, we still have our Department of Land and Natural Resources from the state of Hawaii, illegal gun confiscation squad running around hunting areas. They're only allowed according to the penalty codes of seizing people's guns after a second conviction, but they're just walking around taking people's guns for any hunting violation. Basically, if you have the wrong if you have full metal jacket instead of soft points or hollow points, if you're using a non-hunting, if I take my Glock in a hunting area, it's 9mm, not a hunting round, so they would just, if they catch you, they would just take it from you and say, well, you can't do that, we'll take your gun, even though they actually have no way of filing for actual forfeiture in court, because ever since they lost that case of Carlisle versus One Boat, where the DLNR tried to take the boat and nets away from a couple of Vietnamese fishermen who were violating some fishing codes or whatever with their nets. I don't know, wrong kind of net. But and they lost that case. So the DLNR can't actually forfeit or anything, but they got badges and guns. So whatever the law is, they're just taking your guns. So be really careful if you're in a hunting area. There's only on the Big Island. There's only 4 DLNR agents, and it's really sad that I think the governor signed the new hunting regs. So I think it came straight from the governor, this gun seizure crap. So if you're in a hunting area not following the hunting codes, they can't forfeiture them. And if you go to court and pay a lawyer, you will probably get your guns back on a first offense anyway, I would imagine. But, hiring a lawyer costs money. And going to court is like going to the dentist. But, it's not fun. What the 3 lies dentists tell? The same thing that it'll be if you go to court. They say it won't take long. That's a lie. It won't hurt, and it'll be inexpensive. That's all bullshit. So, we've got the illegal gun seizure squad running around from DLNR. I guess the governor told him to do it, and he doesn't care about the Second Amendment, so he's the freaking governor, and nobody really particularly cares much about the Constitution. Act carefully on hunting areas. Try and follow all the regs, and don't agree to searches or questioning without an attorney. And remember, Marbury versus Madison, said all rights not asserted are waived. So you need to assert each and every one of your rights at the first moment. And if all your guns are locked up in your car, then don't consent to a search. Don't answer questions and give them probable cause to search. It really sucks that they do that, though. But I mean, gun seizure squads that run around under color of authority with using hunting violations, the wrong kind of caliber or something as an excuse to seize guns just really stinks. But that's the way we live here right now, apparently. And meanwhile, the Supreme Court doesn't want to even hear any cases. They don't want to hear it, apparently. Everything gets every appeal gets distributed for conference, and I assume it's just because they want some clerk to come up with a reason that they don't have to hear it, other than we don't wanna. But actually, this one is distributed for conference 4 times. Here's one on July 2nd. Brief amicus curiae of arming women against rape and endangerment filed. I just distributed for conference on October 29th and November 16th and November 30th, which is today. So latest stuff happening at Supreme Court. So keep track of SCOTUS blog. Anyway, there's a interesting case. I want to look inside the channels.com/Hawaii HVS. See if anybody came up with the answer to the daily patch giveaway question. Maybe it's too hard of a question. Use Google. It's not that hard. Battle of Saratoga. What did France contribute? It wasn't soldiers. It was all Americans versus British. I think some Canadians were involved somehow, but as soon as they found out there wasn't any beer, they left. So let's see. What else? Well, I got my drink. I got a case of Tannerite. I could hold out here all night. So don't take me alive. let's see if I can actually get to, there's the page. Well, okay, catch bait. I'm not talking about aid. What did they? Remember, I said, well, look at the picture I shared at the start. I mean, I'll share it again. It's kind of obvious. Waiting for my DPG. I'm just reading your stuff. French bread? No. Most likely French arms. Okay, well, Night Strike, you're close. I'll put the join link in here again if anybody wants to. I don't think the French make tacos. It wasn't food. I forgot whoever. If you didn't see last week's, I don't know if the winner bailed out before I told him he won, but I can't remember. Let's see. I'm gonna link the picture again. Give you guys a hint. Yeah. So let me get to it real quick. I got to find my emails again. Let me get to my email page from the Mint. Oh, great. It was in my old emails. Yeah. U.S. Mint, National Football League. The guy that's having a chat on Wednesday on prepping basics is shooting and stuff with trees. He's a pretty cool guy. Got a lot of guns that he's always shooting, and he reloads, and I think he's a veteran. Anyway, let me find the right freaking email.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, man. It's Cyber Monday. It's lock and load, and I'm trying to find my own emails here. Oh, here it is. Let's see.
I had to switch computers because my other mic is on the fritz.
Well, glad you can make it.
Sorry, I'm a little late. Family and whatnot. We're still getting over the turkey-induced coma that we've had.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around.
We had a ton of leftovers, and we haven't even made a dent in them yet.
Yeah, well, I had like 2 turkey rolls and 1 turkey sandwich on Thanksgiving, and that was about it. So I didn't really have a chance to go into a coma. I did have like a couple of vodka shots, but
you always have vodka shots,
No, I don't. No, I don't. But I should start. I'm just having a Pepsi on ice right now.
All right.
But I do have some Kona Brewing Company's beers and Tannerite, so I could hold out all night.
So you actually got the Tannerite in Hawaii? I thought it was like illegal or something.
No. Shockwave explosive, same thing, different brand.
Awesome.
Where's the damn? Yeah, well, I was on Edge's chat the other time. It was so funny because somebody, was one of the people were asking a question. Well, how do I learn, to defend yourself? If the shit hits the fan, and the person asking the question was close to Tennessee, I guess, where James Yeager is, and they're saying, oh, check out his pistol fighting class and his rifle fighting class, whatever it says. I said, nah, forget all that. Just mix up some Tannerite. If you got 12 guys busting into your house, it doesn't matter how good of a shot you are. I mean, you're not going to win a gunfight with 12 people. So just mix up the Tannerite, and as soon as they set one foot inside your home, shoot the Tannerite.
Yeah, that Tannerite is volatile stuff. I've seen what it can do if you put 50 pounds of it next to a dead tree.
Yeah, I mean, if you might blow up the front entryway for your house, taking out the bad guys, but you can always, if you get
You may
killed,
get noise
it won't
complaints.
matter. You may get noise complaints, but it really, you can always. We're talking about a situation without the rule of law. If you got 12 armed men at your front door, so, and I assume, you're only going to use this responsibly in self-defense. But yeah, you can
I,
always replace the drywall and find somebody to hang a door and shit and redo the tiles in your front entryway. But if you get killed, you're just dead. So
yeah, well, while questionable, explosives is one way of defending yourself. I'll give you that.
yeah, and yeah, so can you see this
Yeah,
screen share right now? All
yeah.
right, so the answer is in this picture. I'll just put it to you that way.
They gave him quarters.
No,
Yeah,
they
they
gave him
gave
swords.
gave him, that's Horatio Gates.
I do not see a sword in the. Oh wait, there it is.
Yeah, hey, good job there.
It wasn't swords. They gave him quarters.
British women.
Where are British women in this picture? I don't see any women in this picture.
Because they surrendered, so they bent over.
No, wrong time for him.
You're thinking France again. Come on, don't make me just tell you the answer. Somebody has
They
to
gave
figure it
him
out.
mints because their breath stinks.
There are no mints in this picture.
It says mint.
They gave them arms.
Right. Well, you're getting close. All right. So what's
You
in
want,
the
you want me to
picture?
be specific for them, or do you want
Did
me
they
to?
blow him away?
No, there were no French people there of any significant. I mean, come on. I'm making this too easy
Oh, I
for you
see a
guys.
wine bush. Did they give him wine?
Well, what is in the picture? Let me ask
They
you that.
gave them cannons.
Yay. Okay, what kind?
Black powder.
What's the name of the cannon they gave?
Shit, I don't know
They
that.
gave him
I'm not
Saratoga.
into that much detail.
Well, you want the free patches, you gotta work
No, I
for it.
don't want the free patch. I'm here. I'm here for your show.
Okay, well, thank you. But I'm trying to give away a patch anyway. Just
Yeah. Someone come up with the type of cannon that they gave them, and you
Oh
win the
no.
patch.
I think I know what it is. They gave him bonds.
bonds. No, that's the federal treasury. The U.S. Constitution said they didn't want a bank. It said they wanted all the currency backed by gold and silver, but that plan doesn't work anymore. So
Oh no, we got a Florida badass here.
Florida
Where?
ban.
That's great when he
Wait, you
says
got
where.
two of them. You got two of them.
It's not a Napoleon cannon.
Where is he behind me?
There's
I,
some
I,
I
I
don't
kind
thought
know.
you
How
were.
tall are you?
What?
I'm 5'11", so I can't be behind you.
yeah, the French, uh, well, basically it's the cannon.
What?
So
Short
just
people can't stand behind me? I'm confused.
Well, how tall are you?
6'2".
Well, that's with boots on, though.
oh, Sean, do you know what kind of cannon that is?
One that goes boom.
You
That's the
should be
only one
more
I want.
specific than that than to win that. What kind of cannon was used at the Battle of Saratoga?
Probably about an 8-pounder.
Well, yeah, but do you know what what it was called, that particular cannon? I don't know what poundage. They had different. They came in
Not a
all
clue.
different poundage. Yeah, actually, the poundages were indicated by the faces of animal faces that they drew on the back of the cannon. Like a lion. One that had a lion on the back of the cannon was a 24 pounder, but I don't think they had 24 pounders at this battle. But they came in all different sizes. But it was interesting because of the way they made this cannon specifically.
Oh, you're talking about the bronze versus seal cannons, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a bronze cannon, but it's how they drilled it, really. I mean, how they bored it. Well, that was interesting.
What they have a rifled cannon?
Well, it was named after a French
I
artillery
think I can.
officer.
I don't know if I can say it, but I think I found it.
It's
De Valnier.
close enough. You win the patch. De Valerie. He didn't. He was
What?
De Valerie.
You said that like it was nothing. I said that like I was a retard. What the hell?
I knew a girl named Valerie, so it was easy. But naturally, the French artillery officers must be named after girls I dated in the past. But so.
Oh well, thank God I got that correct because that would be my fourth patch.
Just don't ever stand behind me.
That's my fourth patch for the past weeks. I've been winning. Oh my God.
You're in a roll, man.
Stop. You just stop.
And what was interesting about, I think it was it was a French guy named Musin that designed it, and basically what they did was, it's a solid cast, bronze, and then they hang the cannon in this building, and then there's this drill tap and a drill at the bottom, and they lower the cannon as this this big drill is turned onto the where the drill tap is, and that's how they make them out of bronze.
By the way, your screen share's on the chat.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I was talking about something important, but anyway.
You said Bonnier, right?
I said what? De Valerie.
No, the guy's name.
No, I think it was Musin, or something like that. The guy who actually designed the technique to bore the cannon. The cannon was named after a French artillery officer, and I guess he had something to do with designing it. But the actual technique of to hang that upside down, hang the bronze cannon upside down over a drill tap, and lower it onto the drill tap. That was, I think it was Musin, was his name, and it says.
So back on the history.
And currently, the company that he founded now, of course, makes Musin X.
Oh man.
No, back to the history lesson. Did you realize that the French also gave us or sold us ships and other types of arms during the Revolutionary War as well?
Yes.
Yeah, well, basically, when we won the Battle of Saratoga, then we actually formally British General Bourgogne or whatever, I can't pronounce British general's name, surrendered to Gates. Then we were officially it was officially on with France and the colonies versus Britain.
I guess the French wanted to see us win first.
Yeah, they wanted to see a victory first. So, but they gave us these cannons first, So.
Look, the French supporting us during the Revolution was the best long-term investment ever made by any country, because we've been bailing their asses out ever since, and we've done it because, well, they helped us out against England.
Well, except for the guys, the French royals who got their heads chopped off during the French Revolution there.
Also, remember the French gave us the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, fuck.
They did.
Right. Well, this thing with France has been going on. I mean, obviously, they needed us at Omaha Beach at Normandy, but we needed them too, and it's been a back and forth. I've got nothing against France personally, or as an American,
that won't stop us from making jokes about them.
No, it should not. Make all the jokes you want. But I thought it was interesting because I got that coin thing from the Mint, and so naturally I looked into the history of what they sent me and thought it'd be a good patch giveaway question, except the fact that it was a little bit too hard, I think.
But wait, was that an actual De Valerie cannon, or was that just another picture? Oh, that was?
Yeah, there's a national park, the Saratoga National Park, Battleground Park, and at Freedman's Farms, and that was basically where Horatio Gates, ordered Benedict Arnold to do nothing, and Benedict Arnold took his horse and led a charge anyway, and then through a couple British redoubts. And
so that's not a replica. That's an actual cannon.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, well, they were bronze originally. I mean, so now they're just weathered, obviously.
So you're telling me they were bronze and then they turned black?
Yeah, well, if you want to show up there and they let you hit it with Brasso, you'll probably get it to shine.
I mean, hell,
a lot of Brasso.
Benedict Arnold was actually a very awesome dude right up until the point that he went all Benedict Arnold on us.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. Brasso is not easy to polish bronze. It takes a lot of elbow grease. So I don't think there's enough Brasso in the United States for those cannons.
Well, I thought it was interesting that they, the poundage was indicated by what type of animal face they put on it. So you knew what kind of shells to put in. But 24 pounders.
And what animal was that?
Look it up on Wikipedia. It's there. Let's see. What type was on the gun there? I'm not sure if it was a 4-pounder. It was probably just a face, regular old face. But the animal ones were for larger poundages than 4-pounders. But I'm sure the cannons helped the Americans win that battle. Let me go look at my picture if you really want to know again.
Sure.
That's okay. I
cannot see the face on that one, but I know it's there. It's just in the shade. It's kind of shaded, and it's like black from oxidation on there, so I can't really see it. I know it's there because I read that's how they designed them, but.
Wait, so one day the Liberty Lady will be black?
No, because the Liberty Lady is copper.
Oh, yeah, that's right. My bad.
The Liberty Lady?
That's another thing. When the Statue of Liberty was originally given to us, it was shiny copper. But because, like Americans, as we are, we didn't keep it shined in Brasso because there's just no point. We just let it go.
If it's on the ocean, you may as well forget about it. Anything on the ocean gets,
You could have oiled it or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you oiled it, I mean.
Back when they refurbished it, there was about 30 seconds of talk of actually clear coating the thing, and it was like, no, it's got to take back on its green patina. In fact, they had to kind of go out of their way to make sure that they let the metal patina before doing some reskinning and some of the work, so it would maintain its greenish color.
So, Sean, what's happening with Florida Carry? I was talking earlier about the Friedman case being relisted and the stun gun case being relisted.
It should start again in January, right?
Yeah, we just filed the initial brief in our open carry case, Norman v. Florida, in the Florida Supreme Court. So, waiting to see what the state comes back with, and we're calling out the lower court ruling that said that Florida banning open carry and saying that yes, there's a right to bear arms outside the home, but you have to get a license to do it. We have basically called the state out on that and said, you don't license rights. And if you're going to license concealed carry, then you have to have unlicensed open carry.
That's just stupid. They're just trying to make money off of this now.
You would not believe how much money there is in just the fingerprinting fees. It is a major part of the annual budget of Florida Department of Law Enforcement. How much money people spend on licensing fingerprints.
I mean, I don't like the licensing on concealed carry, but I can understand what they're trying to think their mentality is, but licensing open carry, that's stupid.
Well, if government didn't do stupid things, they wouldn't call it government, I guess.
No,
yeah, well, that's our government too.
Yeah. Well, most of America is just walking in a day. I mean, you ever seen like girls or whatever walking across the street against a red light, just looking at their texting device or whatever. I mean, that's
I don't do
Yeah,
that.
license them to do that.
Like I said at the start of this chat, it's if the first time Americans will know anything is wrong is when the power gets cut off to their Xbox and 5 million Americans get killed in the same strike.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Wow, it's like what? They're gonna take out New York or L.A.?
Well, people are worried about missiles, but yeah, North Korea could just put a nuclear bomb on a container ship and.
They're still having trouble launching bottle rockets over there.
Oh
And
wait,
besides-
didn't they have like a sneak preview into North Korea and stuff like that? I saw an article
Yeah,
about
but
that.
that was all propaganda. You have to
I
realize
thought
none of
The
that was.
Walking Dead.
Yeah, but they get to fly in Russian jets over there to look at them. That's awesome.
Russian jets are death traps. Okay, you don't want to use a Russian jet ever.
You got a problem with MiGs?
What, you've never seen an AN-124?
Well, we're not talking top of the line. We're talking
Cold War.
Ouch.
Yeah, I don't think they really have many new jets since.
Well, they have new fighters.
Their top line. One of their top line fighters is still the MiG-29 Cold War jet. Great jet, but that was just the jets that put them back on par with the F-15.
I don't want
to. That's a Gen 2 fighter, and we're into we're into Gen 4 fighters now.
I don't want to start arguing with you about jets, and because we got into a big heated argument last time about the F-35, so we're just gonna leave that one.
I think the F-35 is a joke, and we should not decommission the Warthog.
Both. Keep them both.
Yeah.
Look, the F-35 fills a niche because the Harrier kind of sucked.
And they stopped using it. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that point. But the fact is that it's the Warthog has its uses, and people love using it. Just update it, overhaul the ones that need to, get rid of the ones that just can't be repaired anymore. Just do that because, everyone in the Air Force and everyone in the other parts of the services love the Warthog.
Dude, I was an infantryman. The A-10 is the most beautiful aircraft that ever flew.
But isn't it slow?
Get your butt out of a tight spot. Well, slow compared to an interceptor, sure, but it's perfect. But they're fast. They're way faster than helicopters.
Yeah, it's what you're talking about.
They're not going to be good in a dogfight.
In the ground attack role, it's way faster than a squadron of Apaches.
Yeah, it's more of an AG instead of an air assault.
Yeah, so
anti-ground.
Yeah, AG is air to ground, but yes, it's an attack aircraft. It's made for ground attack.
Yeah, I don't think that would beat a MiG in a dogfight.
Yeah.
Nope.
But a MiG wouldn't get in a fight with that in the first place because the MiG would have to deal with whoever's protecting that.
Which is usually nobody.
We were in an interesting situation in Bosnia one day, and we had some F-16s come up on the horn saying, "Oh yeah, we got on the ground radar. We're pretty sure we know where you guys are," and we're like, "We're danger close with these guys." Yeah, we think we've got it. And, nah, never mind. The A-10s are about 2 minutes behind you. We'll wait for the A-10s because those guys come in and put eyeballs on things.
Yeah, there is a problem with flying over Syria right now, though, because they have a new anti-air system. I'll screenshot it real quick.
Russia's not having a problem with that.
No, but Russia probably built that system for them.
Exactly. Oh, they look like a Scud missile launcher.
That's the S-400 air defense missile system. That's the state-of-the-art Russian.
So Russia did build it for them. Ha-ha!
No,
I was right.
They built it for themselves. They're not giving this one away. They put it. Their own troops are manning this one.
Oh, so it's on loan.
Yeah.
Syria's a damn mess.
Yeah,
the whole Middle East is a mess. Thanks,
the whole
Obama.
world's a mess. Yes, but that's what I was so upset about, that he goes to the climate conference in Paris and says he's showing resolve. That he's had plenty of opportunities to show resolve as president, but going to Paris for the climate conference is not one of them.
Well, yeah. Here, I'll quote Obama. Using chemical and biological weapons would be a red line that you shall not cross. Oh, wait, did I say red?
I meant sort of yellowish, bluish.
And did I say line? I meant it's a dotted line. Yeah.
I don't think our president knows how to show resolve.
No.
Well, unfortunately,
our military
Obama
knows how, but they need the orders from the president to do it.
Jimmy Carter was a better commander-in-chief.
Whoa. Are we saying that Obama is worse than Carter?
Yes.
Well, I remember the gas lines from the Carter presidency, so I don't know.
I'm not saying that's. Hey, look, gas lines be damned. As far as the respect that America gets in foreign policy, in many ways, Obama is worse than Carter.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Well, I refuse to stand up for either of those.
He's definitely a worse commander-in-chief.
The second worst was Carter.
Oh,
what was first?
Though I will be honest, one of my distant relatives probably wasn't any better because he was only in office for a month.
Yeah, well, Woodrow Wilson's up there as bad commanders-in-chief.
World War I. We're talking World War I now.
He was the one who stayed isolationist for half of World War I, right?
Wait, didn't he invent the UN or something?
Yeah, it failed.
Well, League of Nations
I think
back
it was
then.
the League of Nations, right? Sorry. You gotta remember my history. Sorry to turn this into a history class, guys. I was just trying to have some fun. I showed some paper 38 Patterson bullets before they had brass casings. That looked pretty cool. And a linen case bullet, 58 caliber. That looked. Oh, I never seen a linen one.
How does a caseless ammo work? How does that work? Is that like just shooting ball bearings at people?
Extremely well. In fact, there are some modern iterations of new caseless designs that show a lot of promise. It's a very smart thing to do if you can get away with it.
But it still requires gunpowder and case and stuff like that, right? Or no? Like, I don't know how caseless ammo works.
All right, so
potassium nitrate soaked paper inside the linen ignites it, and basically that's the linen on the outside, the powder's on the inside, and there's on the back, towards the back of that, there's the soaked paper, and so you throw a spark at it and it ignites. The paper
and another type of ammunition that doesn't need ammo or gunpowder.
Okay, so imagine if you could have ammunition that did not require a brass case, did not require any case at all. It was merely a projectile and powder. And some extremely lightweight, thin membrane holding it that actually expels down the barrel. Now
it's designed to break when it gets rammed into the cylinder of the Patterson revolver. It's designed for the paper to kind of crack and for the powder to break.
I've got nothing I need to eject, but I do have to load. I've got a much lighter ammunition.
Wasn't the G11 the last caseless rifle?
I have no clue what the last caseless rifle was.
This is the powder for the paper casing for the Colt Patterson revolver.
So there's basically a phalanx type gun that's been in development where they use an electrical charge to set off the rounds. Each round is packed in front of the next. Basically, each projectile is packed in front of the next projectile with powder behind it. Electrical charge sets off the powder charge. As soon as the first round exits the barrel, the next the electrical charge hits the next set of powder, there is no case to eject. There is nothing to load because each round is sealed off from the next round by the round itself, by the projectile itself. So you've got like 12, 14 rounds already preloaded in the barrel, just with powder behind it, no casing, and you can fire it extremely fast with no moving parts.
Sounds like a modified Gauss rifle.
Yeah. That would be cheap on ammunition, wouldn't you think?
Well, you're cutting out what the brass is anywhere from is around 40% the cost of ammunition. This is why reloading is so inexpensive. I mean, the only thing you get to reuse is the brass, and the brass is where all the savings is.
But the problem with with using guns, rifles, crew-served weapons that require power is they have to have a constant power source. Like, say we're talking about rail guns or even Gauss rifles or cannons or whatever.
The only problem with caseless is not power sources. You could use traditional primer. The problem is, how do I move in a projectile, powder, and a primer without an expensive casing? And so this is kind of, I think, the next big thing in firearms technology is coming up with a lightweight, expendable down the barrel, robust cartridge replacement where you don't have to use brass, you don't have to use steel, you don't have to use aluminum or any other casing material beyond something pretty darn cheap, but we need something that is going to be robust enough to be able to be handled. Something that you can fill up a magazine in and not bust the casing. And something that, unlike steel, isn't going to erode your chamber.
Well, on battleships with those 16-inch rifle cannons or whatever they were, they had, the projectile was separate from the
that's just projectile and
I think
powder
the powder charge was in linen, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they're cloth wrapped things of powder behind the projectile, and
which is basically what that M58 was. It's basically what the same thing the M58 that I shared at the start was. I mean, obviously, it was
same thing as a lot of modern artillery.
I thought the reloader guys would like that, just those screenshots, because you don't see linen.
Now, when you look at, say, the M1 tank round, most of its casing goes downrange. You're just left with an ass cap. But you still have a casing there.
Yeah, and basically with the paper cartridges, with the nitrogen or whatever it was, potassium nitrogen or whatever it was, soaked paper, it all burned away cleanly in the explosion.
Yeah, nitrocellulose, I thought.
So could this help with reducing jamming problems?
Yes.
Oh man, we need to put our brains together and make something.
People have been trying to figure out how to make something like that for a very long time.
Yeah, since before the Civil War.
What the hell? It took us that long?
And the problems with trying to adapt modern polymers and stuff is, well, they just don't have the heat resistance needed. You bound up baking them onto your chamber.
Wait. So you're saying polymer casings? What?
Polymer.
As the casing.
Polymer casings. Problem is, they wind up they can't find anything with enough heat resistance. So they wind up, just baking them onto the chambers.
If you want to come up with some new casing, I don't know.
They melt.
I mean, aren't how are railguns supposed to work in the future Navy? I mean,
basically a railgun. The principle is this: you have two rails that run parallel that are electrified. Basically you're creating it's like a magnet more or less, and you put
superconducting materials.
superconducting.
Yeah. No powder, no casing, no nothing. You have a projectile.
And it propels a piece of metal at sonic speed towards an object.
Those guys are going to have to require a really expensive amount of rare earth metals for that to put a superconductor railgun materials together.
Yes, it is a lot, and it also takes a lot of power.
So I'm assuming this will be reserved for nuclear-powered ships.
The problem is that yes, right now most of our ships are they're nuclear powered anyway. So yet you will. The problem is with these guns, you're going to need one nuclear reactor probably to power just the entire guns on your ship, depending on how many of these you have. And if you have more than, like, I'd say 4, you're probably going to need another reactor, just because of the sheer amount of power consumption these things are going to take.
So it looks like the military can only use it, no civilians. So.
You're not going to have your 1911 Gauss gun anytime soon.
I'm working on that. I am working on that.
Well, they just gave us a shipment of old 1911s from the Cold War, so or World War II.
Back and forth on that, as I was talking about earlier in the chat. I mean, just yesterday, I think the COO of the Civilian Marksman Program put a blog post on saying, no, Obama would never sign that. They never passed it. It's not true. And then today, he's basically saying, yeah, they've passed it and he signed it. And so, we're going back and forth on whether that actual amendment was in the thing that got
I wonder
signed.
if Barack Obama knows what a 1911 is and probably just signed it because he didn't know.
Oh, it's 100-year-old guns. Must be fine.
Yeah, for World War I.
He doesn't care. He doesn't. He only probably reads about half of the bills that get on his desk.
No, he doesn't read any of the bills. Someone reads them for him and tells him if he should sign them or not. And
that's more believable, actually.
Yeah, and this is the way of basically every president. Look, if you were president, you wouldn't read all this stuff.
Yes,
I might skim if I get bored.
It's like getting the phone bill. They're designed not to be read,
He probably thought it said fireworks and not firearms.
On the chat room, Jesse James said that there's a couple videos on YouTube of the railguns already that the Navy is going to start using. If you would like to check.
All right, I'll check that out. Did you post a link?
They're
no.
But wait, can they make the projectile explode because that's what most of our artillery is, the exploding projectiles. So with a railgun, is there enough power?
You don't need to with the railgun. There's more power than a regular, gunpowder driven projectile.
They are the very definition of badass.
But that's like shooting a cannon.
That used to be like science fiction back in the 80s and the 70s and whatnot, where railguns were like all sci-fi. And now we've actually got them. So they're not really sci-fi anymore. They're just expensive.
But can't they make explosive projectiles instead of just, a cannon, basically, that can just go through walls?
Well, the problem is the projectile is just like a metal spike.
You don't need it. Yeah, if the speeds are going, you don't need explosive.
No, you should see what it does to a concrete wall, and then you'll understand.
Well, if you can kill 5 guys with 1 bullet, okay.
Wait a minute, you guys lost me here. Okay. We're talking about Navy.
Railguns.
You're trying to sink ships, not kill guys. I mean,
you ever heard of shore bombardment?
Well, let's not get into, shore bombardment. They had to rewrite the book on how to do shore bombardment during World War II because they were doing it wrong until they got it right. They messed up on a few battles until they got that right. But during I forget which island they got it right. but I remember they basically weren't. You have to have the right. They weren't arcing their shots enough. Basically, that's what it was.
There's a video in this Google Hangout of them doing a demonstration on the railgun and how much metal it can go through.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I saw like a test of a rail gun once, just at a testing range, but it wasn't anything actually deployed on a ship. So, well, I always like to keep up on what the Navy's doing, but it's just interesting, especially since I live in Hawaii and we're surrounded by the ocean, and we have December 7th coming up, and the important day for Hawaii, and just how fast the world can change from normal to apocalyptic
science fiction
catastrophe. It can happen. Whatever it is, it'll just happen, and then everything will be different the next day, like it was in Pearl Harbor. So, but let's hope we can get through it without the apocalypse or the zombie apocalypse or anything. Because I watched a few, like 5 or 10 minutes of the zombie apocalypse, and I was like, I need way more shotgun ammunition. It's like 400 zombies walking down the streets. Like, I can't take up 400 zombies unless I have like a truck.
Well, dude, that's why you get pellets or buckshot. Take out 2 of them at once.
Well, yeah, I mean.
No, that's why you get a crossbow.
Oh no!
No, it takes too damn long.
Don't make
no,
fun of the prepping company.
The thing is, with a crossbow, once you've killed one zombie, you can get the round back and shoot another.
Yeah, but
if you get that zombie,
but if there's like 50 of them, you can't really get it.
Well, yeah, if you're swarmed, you're dead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you would need tons of. I mean, I only have. Like,
you need a machine crossbow. You're brilliant. We need to make.
Oh, you mean the was it the lever action crossbows?
No. You know what I saw I was watching Gladiator the other day, and you know how they had in the arena and the Colosseum in Rome, they had one of the guys had this. It was like 2 crossbows where it was like there's one crossbow, you fire it, then you flip it and it was like it looked like they were. It looked like a plus sign. They're like one crossbow, and then you turn it. A quarter turn, and then there's another crossbow. So you could just fire one, spin it, fire another one.
Yeah, but we got to put some modern technology into it. So.
Yeah, we need a Gatling crossbow.
A Gatling They actually developed something like that. I think I saw that, but it wasn't accurate. It was only for like massive archery, massive fire. When you want to just throw shit up in the air at an army far away,
Like Van Helsing movie?
No, it wasn't like Van Helsing.
No, Van Helsing was a horrible movie. We should not mention.
No, I'm saying he had
I like the part at the end where he had
an automatic crossbow.
I like the ending with the girl where the girl dies. And he howls at the moon or whatever.
Are you sure he wasn't barking at the moon?
Well, whatever werewolves do. I don't think Van Helsing was that bad. Yeah, and I did like of course I like that the friar got to, he keeps saying, he gets to have sex with that Transylvanian chick because he's only a friar,
He's not a monk. Yeah. You can't do that. You're a monk. Actually, I'm a friar.
Yeah,
and the girl was like, maybe it's a good thing. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's one of those. It was a fun movie to watch, but it is what it was. So.
You know what? I'm starting to take a break on zombie apocalypse movies. I want to watch wasteland apocalypse movies, man. Like Mad Max and all that stuff. But I can't, like The Road or Book of Eli. Those kind of movies, not zombies, but still wasteland apocalypse. I can't really find any.
I only watched like 5 or 10 minutes of Walking Dead. That's it. I'm not into zombies. What can I say?
I've read a lot of the comics of The Walking Dead, and I don't like the TV series because I'm a purist.
I prefer vampire stories, but
Well, then you'd like The Strain.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I prefer mass infection type of monster. I prefer one badass monster
like 30 nights.
No. The Strain is a TV series, and basically the surmise is, they think it's some sort of virus, but it turns out that there's actually a vampire Dark Lord, controlling all these vampires and making more.
Well, let me do the tropical version since we have a dengue fever breakout. Let's have a mosquito bites you and you turn into a vampire. Instead of getting dengue fever.
Isn't vampirism same thing as zombieism? Like the virus, it's a virus. I mean, when you bite a person, doesn't they turn into a vampire?
No.
Isn't that how like a vampire virus transmit into them and they change into a vampire when they get bit?
No.
Because how the hell? How do you survive after getting all your blood drank?
We don't.
You either die or become a vampire.
Yeah, but how do you become a vampire? You don't just magically become a vampire because you got bit.
It depends on the type of vampire.
We're talking about the type of vampires that turns other people into vampires. That's the one. We're not talking about the ones that eat you and then you die.
Well, Sean, does Florida Carey have any vampire legal lawyers who can explain this process?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah. Hey, I'm from Florida, and I don't know much about vampires either, okay? I don't even think a cross really works to scare them off. No.
Well,
it depends on if they're religious.
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
I know decapitating would be a good idea. Stabbing them in the heart's a good idea. Burning them's a good idea. I don't know about silver. I don't know what the hell silver have to do with it.
Yeah, I always thought silver was werewolves.
I know, right? They use it for
silver
vampires
bullets
too.
Well,
werewolves was wolfsbane and silver.
I think.
Well, then how does the underworld movies work? Because they use silver to shoot every vampire.
Remember, it's popular media.
I don't know. If you want to look at the realistically, chopping off their head would kill anything. So I guess that, or chopping off the limbs at least to slow it down.
Well, basically, the thing was, since these were undead, people would go around in, the Carpathian Mountains, and they would literally dig up the undead, chop off their heads, and I forgot what else they did. I don't know, but they did something else to their tongue to make sure that they couldn't rise as vampires, To
become Strigoi.
Yeah. I have a screen.
So as I said, this
I've been well trained apparently.
This Black Friday was kind of a dud.
Well, I was upset because basically I got an email from Sports Authority, and I specifically typed in ammo to the link to the Sports Authority webpage that was in the email, and it didn't say anything. So I get there on Sunday, and I said, well, sell me a couple bucks of ammo or something. I'm the least, because the least I bought like 100 rounds of 45 and 357 Magnum because that was my lowest count in my handgun. That I had when I checked all my ammo numbers and what I had. So, but he said, "Oh, there was a 20% sale." I was like, "Well, on Black Friday." So, well, it didn't say that in the email you sent. And he said, "I said didn't." I said, "No, And when I typed in ammo on the Sports Authority website, it didn't say anything about a 20%. So I missed the 20% sale because I didn't go on Friday because I didn't want to fight crowds.
Oh man, that sucks.
Oh, I heard a story.
It was only
they said
4 boxes of ammo, so,
the reason why people are starting to cyber buy on Black Friday than actually going is because they heard about ISIS and they're scared. Oh, everybody's crowding. ISIS is going to blow us up.
No, ISIS.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Go out to flood their house.
Well,
they don't want to leave their house.
It's that, and mostly for the fact that, have you seen on TV lately of all the fights in the major cities where people go to Black Friday events, and, the fact is that, fights get started and whatnot, and they don't want to get in the middle of that shit.
People get trampled. Yeah, I just didn't want to fight.
And if ISIS did have an agenda on Black Friday, that would have been a good time if everybody would be crowded together.
Don't give them ideas!
I'm not giving them ideas. I'm saying that it's already out there. It's not.
That show up like 3 days early to camp out in front of Best Buy. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
So if you go, what they had ISIS flags out front of Best Buy.
Oh my God! I'm going to fly to Hawaii and hurt you.
Please take actual footage of camera or
we'll make a vacation of it. I'm gonna go out there and pull you in the face, and then
I'll get 1 million views from Yankee
know?
Marshall. Watched it 1 million times. So
you probably would get 1 million views more so than you do already.
Do people even still do that? Do they even camp outside of Best Buy and stuff like that?
Oh yes, it's.
Yeah, they did it on Thursday even.
That is sad.
I'd rather
that is sad how
myself with a pencil than do that shit.
It is sad how low we stooped as human beings. At least Americans. I would not sleep outside just to get a freaking new
if you do sleep outside, don't sleep outside under an ISIS banner. Is all. So.
Yeah. You know what's funny? They probably said, "Oh, you know what? We're not doing this for Black Friday. We're doing this for the homeless. You know, it's that 1 year that we sleep outside for the homeless. No, you're out here for Black Friday. We're not stupid."
Wow.
Well,
okay. New
the
topic.
world is new topic.
Yeah. Even when I go hunting, I make sure that there's a hunting camp or so, some kind of a roof over my head. Hell, the closest thing I've been to camping since I got out of the military was sleeping in my truck at an event where actually somebody came and knocked on my truck window at about 2 in the morning and said, "Hey, I've got an extra tent set up with an air mattress in it if you want to sleep in there instead." I was like, you know what, that might be more comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, I've watched a lot of the guys from bushcraft in the UK because they don't have guns, so all they do is bushcraft. And there's this one guy like Carlisle and some numbers, and his camps are this food is it's so well catered, his campouts, that it's like better than I've ever eaten in my house, and it's just camping can be fun, and it's not like terrible if you know how to set it up. But I guess they have their camps, kind of pre-built on different locations that they, camp out at regularly. So it's like,
well, there's a big difference between, I guess what I'm used to with my military experience in quote unquote camping versus what civilians do for camping, because
my dad hated camping.
Somebody
too.
talks about going out and being out in the woods and going camping, I instantly go back to my experience of, okay, I'm going to take an entrenching tool, I'm going to scratch out this little fairly flat area in the ground. I'm going to throw a poncho on top of myself and freeze to death all night and hope that my sleeping bag doesn't get wet. If I have a sleeping bag.
Well, these guys are like well beyond that. It's like
Then I
wood
talk
beds,
to my buddies who do go camping, and they're like, oh yeah, I've got the 47-man tent with an air conditioner and a heater. Camping?
What the hell?
It's not. Well, check out, Bangers, Bushcraft. Go to Fox Company Prepping and just look at the guys who participate in the chat. Some of them do some really good camp out videos, and it's not at all like that.
I'm like, you've set up a mobile home out in the woods. That's not
no,
or not even you're not even in the woods. You're at a campground where there's a shower and a flushing toilet. Hell, that's not camping.
You know what camping is? Put him outside. All right, give him a tent, and that's it. Put him out there, and if you come back and he has like tools and all that stuff, that's camping. He learned.
Well, yeah, no, but their camps, they cut up the wood, they make wood beds and a fire
beds, really?
wall, a fire. Yeah, you can make beds out of just wood,
okay, yeah. If you make it yourself, that makes sense. It's like, that's kind of like survival mode, but camping, I guess, in line.
Yeah, no, but
there's this video of this dude building himself an adobe hut. I mean, he's like rolling up mud, and the next thing you know, he's got like a freaking 3-bedroom house with a fire.
I saw that. I saw some of that stuff.
Dude,
yeah, but
where is that? I want to see that video because you know.
It's on YouTube somewhere. I'll have to find it. But I mean, the guy is awesome. I'm like, dude,
Find me that video, please.
Took some twigs and mud and built a freaking Adobe condo.
Well,
I have enough space in the back that I could totally do that.
Well, you don't have to do it with Adobe and go into anything ridiculous. You know, basically you just, you know.
But you should.
Well, you could do it with just, you know, loose dead wood, and you can build yourself a bed and cover and a firewall, reflective firewall with wood, and to point the heat back at you. And no, it's people, you know, just do it for fun, and they're good at it. I mean, they know what they're doing, and so. And it was interesting, some of the bushcraft guys on there, how they build their camps. And it you know, yeah, you just need a saw, you know, little portable saw, and that's pretty much it, you know, and some basic bushcraft tools, you know. You need to know where to cut the notches. I mean, I don't know, you could spend forever watching bushcraft videos, but I mean, I know there's this one guy that he just brings so much incredible food to cook at his camp. It's like, every time I just get starving hungry every time I watch his damn videos.
Where's he getting his food?
I'm sure he got it from a store somewhere. Yeah,
okay, see, that's not camping. You need to go hunt for your food. That's camping.
You can bring food with you when you go camping out. You know, they seem to have everything. You know, sirloin strip steaks, bacon and eggs for breakfast. You know, mac and cheese. You know, box. But it's not stuff you can't just throw in a bag and hike it up to where you're.
Are you kidding me? Every time I go camping, all I get is a can of spaghetti.
Yeah, well, me too. You know, but yeah, or you know, Top Ramen or something. But you know, I'm just looking at. There's other people who are more, you know, who just do it for fun, who are really into, you know, really into it, and it's just fun to watch their videos. What? Me neither. But I'm probably gonna go. Just get a place along the ocean. Find a place to camp on the ocean. I mean, know of a bunch of them, but it's just, you know, I know how much work it's going to be, and I have to go someplace where there's actually wood that I can use.
It's been like 14 years since the last time I went camping.
Yeah, and I'm talking about lava cliffs along the ocean, so it's not like there's tons of wood. There's places where there's tons of dead wood I can use. You know.
No, correction. I think it's been 15 or 16. That's about right.
Well, it's time to get another merit badge.
Funny guy.
I need to get some Hawaii Volcano Squad merit badges.
Yeah. The last time I went camping, the hunting camp I stayed at was damn near the size of my house.
Damn.
Well, hey, did you have fun?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, man. That's all that counts.
Were you surviving, or were you actually having fun?
Let's see. We shot rifles up to 1,200 yards. We had nice target set up out there. Rode ATVs. Shot some good size wild boars, and drank a lot of booze.
Has anybody been watching
really good food?
Has anybody been watching Big Cat Week on Nat Geo? Speaking of survival.
No, I have my own cat to deal with.
Yeah, with this, they've had like, you know, these. It's really like survival. You know, these cats are basically doing anything to survive under like the worst no water conditions, and you know they have to hunt their game, and it just you know. They're all hunters, you know, these cats, and they have to survive on, you know, in basically desert conditions, you know, and it's really, it's all about hunting, you know, but you know, and how they're, and the social interaction is within the prides, but it's interesting, but yeah, their hunting techniques and how they find water. I mean, literally. You know, sometimes they just lick the water off each other when there's a light rain and there's no water. They'll just lick each other's fur to collect the water, you know. And I don't think people are going to want to lick each other for water. What?
What is it called?
Oh, it's all week. It's Big Cat Week on National Geographic.
Oh, Because all I watch is Meerkat Manor.
Yeah, and they have tigers and lions and leopards and stuff, but
And
it's
bears. Oh my.
Bears, oh my.
but it's really just I find the way they hunt, sometimes especially when the game is like hippopotamus or something. Those aren't easy to hunt for lions. Those things are big, and there's this one like a crocodile versus a lioness fighting over a dead baby hippo, and so.
Damn, who won?
Well, it was on land because the hippo was on land, so the lion won, and the crocodile retreated to the safety of the water, being an amphibian. I mean, if it was in the water, the crocodile would have won. The lions are always very cautious when they go around. They know there's crocodiles in the water, so, but the crocodiles will sometimes come out if they see food. So.
Hey, Sean, do you know if we can camp on the beach?
Depends on where you are, but generally in Florida, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, 'cause I know we can't make fires because that's a hazard, but can we like just set up a tent and just sit for the night and just sleep?
Well, even when you can't make wood fires, sometimes if you have a little gas powered multi mixed fuel kind of thing, you can use that.
I don't know if they allow that either.
Well, usually I've read like in Hawaii the hunting, so you can't start a fire, but they don't say about like turning on a little gas stove or something. That's not a fire. So like if you have a butane or mixed fuel kind of little indoor camp stove or whatever, you can boil water for or cooking.
Yeah, I live next to a wildlife reservation place. I could go in there, or I can go to Okeechobee, but I don't want to go there. So I just want to see if I can go on the beach for a little bit. Probably spend the night, see what that's like.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna sit next to your tide. Why? Somebody gonna rob me?
Yeah, you might. You might wait until they have open carry.
Oh no!
God, you'll be waiting forever to go camping. Or you could just forget all that and carry.
What you talking about, Willis? I'm sitting loving on that bill.
Well,
no, actually, we get to carry around big machetes, open carry big machetes. So I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, you can do that here.
Yeah. You won't be waiting as long as Heller. Okay, that's all I have to say.
I don't know if I want to see Sean walking around with a big machete going to McDonald's or something.
Hell, ask G-Webs. He saw me walking around carrying a big old 357 Magnum at GRPC.
Well, I was going to say if he saw you carrying a knife, he would probably say something because he doesn't like knives. So.
Oh, I don't care. Well, technically, a machete is not a knife. It's a sword or something. I don't know.
Wait, technically not a knife. It has a handle and a blade. What are you talking about?
It's a gardening implement.
But that thing is like freaking huge, man.
Yeah.
I would have had a bayonet on me because he's not a. No. G-Webs is partial to bayonets.
Yeah, if you have, he'd be interested. But if you're carrying around, I mean, I never go anywhere without my karambits, but and my Spyderco paramilitary too. But if I was gonna camp out, I'd have a longer blade. I'd bring a machete,
I'm starting to think about open carrying my kukri instead of since I don't have open. We don't have.
I just need to go to zombietools.net and buy one of their blades already. I've been putting it off, so.
I don't know. I heard like blades that have a bend on them are way stronger than straight blades. So maybe, so that karambit that you got, yeah, I'm definitely want to get one.
Oh yeah, but I was.
Awesome tool.
Should we be wrapping it up?
Okay. Does anybody have any more gun-related topics or Second Amendment-related topics that we haven't covered?
Sean, anything else?
Does anybody want to make fun of Barack Obama for a little while?
Man, we're in committee on the 3rd for the. Right now, we've got a huge problem with our self-defense immunity bill. Basically, if you defend yourself, you're supposed to be immune from prosecution. However, the courts took the immunity that the legislature gave us and said, nope, you have the burden of proof. And so you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent if it's self-defense.
So that means they can...
So wait, they're going against the Constitution where you're innocent until proven guilty?
Yeah. They've said if it's self-defense, then you are guilty until proven innocent.
Where does it say that in the Constitution specifically?
Guilt until proven innocence is actually a maximum of common law.
Due process? Is it due process?
It is part of due process, yes.
And what do you mean due process?
But it is a basic tenet of the common law that you're innocent until proven guilty. However, what they've said is when it's self-defense, well, you're guilty. You've committed the crime. Now you have to prove. The onus is on you to prove that it was self-defense.
So do you prove it on the spot, or do you prove it after they arrest you?
And
after they arrest you, they bring you.
What was the reason? What was the reason they gave for changing the burden of proof? It was because you took someone's life.
This is part of why we have stand your ground laws. Used to be, and in fact, the U.S. Supreme Court at one point said that, hey, you have the right to stand your ground and meet force with force. Then the lower courts just started ignoring what the Supreme Court said, and we wound up with this duty to retreat. And they said you could only stand your ground and meet force with force after you had exhausted every possible effort to escape. That's what the lower courts did with what the Supreme Court said. Legislature bit back, said, no. You have a right of self-defense. You have that right where any place that you happen to be. You also have that, and you are immune from prosecution when you defend yourself. The courts turned around and said, okay, fine, you might be able to stand your ground, but you're going to have to bear the burden of proof to get.
Probably the only reason that would make sense to me is because if you become the judge, jury, and executioner of someone else, you have to prove that they deserve to die. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not.
So even if the guy had a firearm on him,
we have a bill in the legislature now that is going to fix it so that when you are at your immunity hearing to determine if you were justified in using self-defense, the state has the burden of proof to say that no, this was not justifiable self-defense. And so we did suffer a setback. There's two bills running for this, one in the Florida Senate, one in the Florida House. A committee chairman who is a former prosecutor killed our bill in the House, but our bill in the Senate is still moving forward. And our legislators, and we're just in the committee weeks now. Our full regular session doesn't start until first week of January. So we are we're moving forward with the Senate bill to try and get this passed.
So do you know any changes, any positive changes that will happen within next year's?
Yeah, we've got three major bills right now. One is the burden of proof in self-defense cases, so that if you have to defend yourself, the state has to prove once you've raised self-defense, and it's not just a laughable claim. It's not, well, I was buying drugs and he scared me, so I shot him. No, that doesn't work. You have to raise what's called a prima facie case of self-defense, which means that, okay, your allegations of self-defense are cognizable. Yes, this does look like self-defense. Now let's make sure it does. At that point, the burden of proof shifts back to the state to prove, it turns back into innocent until proven guilty. That's what
It's
we're
like
trying to pass.
you must have
The
good
other
lawyers
thing we're
to go
trying to
back
pass,
just to write these laws so they would actually be effective. Sounds like you'd have to be very knowledgeable, you know.
I've written a lot of these bills.
Oh, well, then I take it back.
I have a lot of good lawyers who I've spent the last 5 years studying under.
Well,
So
that helps.
On this one piece of law, I advise attorneys. I'm an expert witness on these things. I actually advise attorneys on how to apply these pieces of law.
Sean, I have to make a politics joke.
Well, hang on. Let me get through the other two bills.
Okay.
The other two are campus carry.
Oh no.
Explanation needed, and open carry.
Now, will those be in effect, or will those just be reviewed?
No. Those are bills we're pushing through the legislature, so that you can carry on campus, and another bill so that you can carry openly. But the open carry bill is only a licensed open carry bill. We're also in the Florida Supreme Court trying to get unlicensed open carry.
Yeah, that's what
well, it's just I hate waiting for damn court decisions.
I don't trust the Florida Supreme Court to give it to us. No matter how good the law is on our side, and the law here in Florida is very good on our side. If the court is intellectually honest, we will absolutely win that case. I just do not trust.
I don't want to move to Arizona.
To be intellectually honest.
There's nothing wrong with Arizona.
I think
There's nothing wrong with Arizona, but I'm already here in Florida.
Yeah, there's a problem with Arizona. I've been there very many times, and you roll down your windows while you're riding down the freeway, and it's like a blast furnace. It's too damn hot. There ain't enough humidity.
Well, then you don't need a heater in your car. Problem solved.
But it's not humidity hot.
Okay, I have to say a politics joke.
There's a reason that 60-year-olds out in Arizona look like they're 80-year-olds.
Well, wait a minute. Can't you? Isn't not all? How about Arizona up in the mountains? Isn't it cooler up in the mountains?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So.
And Sean, all I have to say is on that front of those bills, start greasing those palms. Start greasing them.
Hey, I just need more money.
Don't we all?
We have spent.
Okay, how much money do you need to bribe every politician in Florida?
In the past 2 months, we've spent about $12,000 on just basic lobbying.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've got 3 more months to go.
Hey, money greases the wheels. Money greases the wheels.
And so I'm going to throw in the shameless plug. Please go to floridacarry.org. Join Florida Carry. Send us a donation. Send us a Christmas present. We'll turn around and sell it. We need all the money we can get right now.
Bribing politicians isn't easy, but it's necessary. So if you can help Florida Carry.
And it's the only way to get something done in this country.
I joined gun channels.
Obviously, look, we're a nonpartisan organization. We don't give any money to anybody's campaigns or anything like that. It's just to spend the money on doing the lobbying, on getting people to Tallahassee, on going out and contacting legislators, and on going out and just contacting our members and having them send emails and talk to their local legislators. And just it is amazing how much money you have to spend to pass a bill.
Yeah, it's like I said, money makes the political wheels turn. And hey, I joined gun channels just after listening to a few. Every second matters, and so I'm not about all the crap in the lobby and gun channels. I really just want to be around when to help with Second Amendment stuff. So and when the elections come around, I don't know what good YouTube and Google Hangouts can do, but I mean, if you can get people in Florida behind Florida Carry,
if it keeps people informed, it's serving a great purpose.
Yeah, and in return, we can help their states out.
Well, believe me, my state needs so much help. It needs to be invaded by a state.
Oh yes.
Your problem is that you you need a solid organization out there that right now you guys just don't have.
I'd be happy to if we just at least had a Republican Party that wasn't dysfunctional completely. We are one. The Republican Party is suing.
What was it, Sam Sloan out there?
Yeah, but it's the Republican Party suing
at multiple gun rights policy conferences. He's a great guy, but man, he's fighting an uphill battle.
We're fighting our own Republican Party. They're suing the Hawaii Republican Assembly for using a sketch of an elephant.
Oh God!
I mean, it's that bad.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you don't know, the Republican Assemblies is a nationwide organization, and every state has it's like a conservative Republican collective in every state, and it's not the Republican Party, it's the Republican Assemblies, and so it's like the conservative conscience of the Republican Party, and there's probably a Florida Republican Assembly. Maybe you could look to them for some help too with your lobbying, but. And there might be some members, but here
you forget that quite often the Republican Party is part of the problem.
Yeah, I know, but here it is definitely the problem. I mean, the chairman wrote a check of the Republican Party that wasn't authorized by any vote or the treasurer, and he just wrote a check to hire a lawyer to sue the Republican Assembly, and he hired a Democratic union lawyer to sue the Hawaii Republican Assembly for using a sketch of an elephant, and the sketch is from the national organization of Republican Assemblies, not from they're not even suing the right person for the sketch. It's just a sketch of an elephant, and it's just there's nobody here to represent Republicans because it's just so bad. I don't know. It's like I just don't know how to get representation by a Republican anywhere, in Hawaii if the Republican Party is that dysfunctional. They never help candidates. That's the last thing from their mind. That it's they've declared themselves neutral. As far as Democrats, politically issue neutral or something. It's just goddamn mess here. But the nationwide, national situation looks like, we got Republican control in the House and Senate, but not that it's done any good. But I have hope that we can have a Republican president. That, but as far as the court cases that I follow, it's just been so long. Like Peruta, Jesus.
Yeah, the court cases in Hawaii are awful.
Well, we won the court case for the Baker case, and we're still waiting on Peruta now. It's held in abeyance pending Peruta. So,
You know how people get arrested and get in trouble for like printing or like you accidentally flash your firearm? Now, does open carry help prevent that?
Absolutely.
Like you get arrested for that?
Absolutely, because how can you get arrested for printing if the open carry is legal?
Yeah, so common sense would say that, but then like idiots will be like, oh no, there's a difference between concealed carry and open carry.
Nah. There's only two modes of carry, man. It's either concealed or it's not concealed.
Yeah, but does the rules apply for both of them?
The whole printing thing is that printing is open carry.
It's that people shouldn't be wearing that tight of clothing in the first place.
Well, I'm a big guy and I like to open waist carry.
Hey, well, I like to open carry rifles, march them up and down the street, but hey, they don't let us do that.
I'd love to too. They don't let us do that here either.
Yeah, I mean,
in South Carolina.
I just, hey, I'd like to, have a open. I want my Second Amendment rights back. I want America back. So with that,
that might be the best thing I've ever heard you say.
Well, I don't know whether to thank you or.
I'm going to piss off. But I do want America back.
Well, take it as you will.
And
I think we all want America back.
I want to thank everyone on Gun Channels who supports the Second Amendment above all, and the Constitution. And everybody who wants America back is okay in my book. So thanks. This has been a Lock and Load on Mondays. Often we're on Mondays. And thanks, Sean, from FloridaCarry.org, right?
That's it.
And Night Strike and tell me how to pronounce your last name, Lieutenant
Win.
Okay. Hey, winners.
Winners.
This has been a Hawaii Volcano Squad Lock and Load chat, and it is terminated.